Good evening. I am Felix Medina and I'm going to present my final evidence for the course of human body care. Our first topic we're going to talk about is the male reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. As you can see, these are the organs that consist of it. We have the penis, the urinary bladder, the urethra, the testes, um, and this one is like a front and back view of the system. Have a little description of the organs. We're gonna start by the penis. The penis is the male organ of sexual intercourse. It has a long shaft and a tip called the gland penis, which is converted at birth by a layer of foreskin. Then we have the testes, that are the male gonads that make sex hormones and produce sperm. Interstitial cells are found between the seminiferous tubules, and they secrete the male sex hormone called androgens, the most important of which is testosterone. Then we have the testosterone, that is the main sex hormone in males, and is essential for the normal development and functioning of the male sex organs. Now we have the scrotum. This is a loose pouch sac of skin and hangs behind and below the penis. It contains the testicles as well as many nerve and blood vessels. Then we have the epididymis. The epididymis is a long coiled tube that rests on the backside of each testicle. It transports and stores sperm cells that are produced in the testes. We have also the vas deferens. The vas deferens is a long muscular tube that travels from the epididymis into the pelvic cavity. The vas deferens transports mature sperm to the urethra, the tube that can carry urine or sperm outside of the body in preparation for ejaculation. We also have, well, all males also have the urethra, that is a tube that carries urine from the bladder to outside of the body. We have the prostate gland. Also, specifically in males, it has the additional function of ejaculating semen when the male reaches orgasm. Then we have the prostate gland. The prostate gland is a walnut-sized structure that is located below the urinary bladder, in front of the rectum. The prostate gland contributes additional fluid to the ejaculate. The seminal vesicles, there are a sac-like pouch that attach to the vas deferens near the base of the bladder. The seminal vesicles produce a sugar-rich fluid that provides sperm with a source of energy to help them move. Then we have the bulbourethral gland, a pea-sized structure located on the side of the urethra just below the prostate gland. This gland produces a clear slippery fluid that empties directly into the urethra. This fluid serves to lubricate the urethra and to neutralize any acidity that may be present due to the residual drops of urine in the urethra. This is the order from up to down, or right and left, and from left to right of the way of how sperm flows. This part is specifically each part where it goes, but I'm gonna show you a diagram that is more easier. It's easier to. It's here. As you can see, this is, well, the penis. We have the testes, and here, as you can see, are the way of how sperm is produced. So first we start with the testes that mature within the epidermis, matures the sperm. They enter to the vas deferens, the vas deferens that is here, and they enter, and each vas deferens passes into the abdominal cavity, where it curves around the urinary bladder, and empties into the ejaculation duct. The ejaculatory ducts connect to the urethra, and then it's, pshum, like that, through the penis. Now we're gonna talk about the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus is a small but important area in the center of the brain. It plays an important role in hormone production. When the hypothalamus is not working properly, it can cause problems in the body that lead a wide range of rare disorders. Maintaining hypothalamic health is vital because of this. This is the hypothalamus, a really small part in the center of the brain. We continue with the male hormonal regulating system. This is the diagram that better explains the process. So as you know, the hypothalamus is the one that controls the functions of the hormones. In this case, control the testes by secreting a hormone called GnRH that stimulates the anterior pituitary and gland to secrete an gonadotrophic hormone that controls the testes. The gonadotrophic hormones are FSH and LH. They are found in both males and females. In males, FSH, right, promotes the production of sperm in the seminiferous tubules, and LH promotes the production of testosterone by the insertional calf. All these hormones are controlled by negative feedback mechanisms, which maintain the production of sperm and testosterone within normal range. This means that when it has reached a limit, it will obviously decrease by the homeostasis, so it can produce again. We move now to the pituitary gland. It is about a size P and is attached to the base of the brain. It's right here, next to the hypothalamus. This is the pituitary gland. It's often called the master gland because it controls several other hormones, like the thyroid and adrenals, the ovaries, and the testicles. Now we go to the next topic, the female reproductive system. This is these two are diagrams from the female reproductive system. This one is a side-by-side picture. You can see the organs, the fallopian tube, the uterus, the bladder, the urethra, the clitoris. And here is a front-facing picture of the female reproductive system. We're gonna talk about some organs. So this is like a brief explanation about the organs because it's a very complex topic, but it's necessary to review the terms of what each organ does. So the gonads in the female consist of the ovaries located one each side of the upper pelvis, whose functions are to produce the oocytes or eggs in a process called oogenesis, and the female sex hormone estrogen, progesterone, which are the hormones that control the uterine cycle. The uterus is a hollow muscular organ about the size and shape in the inverted pear. It is lined with a vascular tissue called the endometrium, and this is where the embryo is embedded when it reaches the uterus. Then we have the vagina that receives the penis during sexual intercourse and serves as both the birth canal and the exit for the monthly menstrual flow. And then we have the vulva that includes the labia majora, labia minora, the gland clitoris, and a cleft with the opening of the urethra and vagina. The labia majora are two large hair-covered folds that extend from the mons pubis, which is a fatty penis, over the pubic bone cover. The labia minora are two small folds lying inside the labia majora, and they extend from the opening of the vagina to circle the glands of the clitoris, forming the foreskin. We have the glans. Clitoris contains erectile tissue that becomes filled with blood during sexual stimulation. We also have the opening of the urethra and the vagina. The vagina may need partially closed by a tissue called hymen, which is ruptured by sexual intercourse or some other physical means. We have for last we have the oviducts. The fallopian tubes extend from the uterus to the ovaries. They end in like a finger-like projection called the preamble. That together, the ciliated lining of the oviducts guides the egg into the oviduct and swept towards to the uterus. We come to the outside and its way out. It means like the outside is the egg. So the ovaries produce the egg, right? And they're transported to the fallopian tube here, like where fertilization by sperm may occur. The fertilized egg then moves to the uterus and becomes thicker in response to the reproductive cycle. So like the egg is right here and it will move like this, like this, like this until baby is born. Well, it grows, it becomes fetus and grows. Then we have where fertilization and implantation occurs. So during fertilization, the sperm and egg unite in one of the fallopian tubes to form a zygote. Then the zygote travels down to the fallopian tube where it becomes a morula, like this here. It comes like this and like this. Once it reaches the uterus, the morula becomes a blastocyst. The blastocyst then burrows into the uterine wall, and it starts a process called implantation. We're going to talk now about the ovarian cycle. So the first step of the ovarian cycle is the follicular phase, which is released by the pituitary gland. The follicle cycle is one of the parties are stimulated as the follicle matures. Epithelial cells secrete estrogen. The levels of estrogen rises and negative feedback comes in stopping the secretion of SH, so it comes to an end. Ovulation comes next, so the estrogen spike causes secretion of the G and RH from the hypothalamus, which turns into LH from the pituitary gland, resulting in ovulation in the 40th day of the 28-day cycle. Ovulation, this is important to know, is the release of the secondary oocyte from the follicle and into the oviduct. Then we have the luteal, and begins by when LH is promoted. The development of the corpus luteum secretes progesterone. This is an example of the ovarian cycle. As you can see, this is like the monocycle phase. Then we have the ovulation, and then we have menstruation. This is the uh, the uh, the this represents the how to say the days an egg of a female is alive, so it can be fertilized to have a baby born. So here is the egg, it grows like preparing for a possible fertilization, and then when it comes to an end, and it goes like smaller and smaller because it already expired, it doesn't work. This happens during like the 20s to 25 days, and it ends in the 28th day. and then after that the new cycle it's made. Then we have the uterine cycle that starts with menstruation that lasts from day 1 to about day 5. It breaks down endometrium with blood passing out of the vagina. They load the female sex hormone. Then the proliferative phase is from 6 to the 13th day and consists of building up the endometrium, which becomes a more vascular and glandular. It is the cause the production of estrogen by the new developing follicle. Then the secretory phase is from the day 15th to the 28th. The endometrium decreases in thickness and uterine glands produce thick mucus secretion. The endometrium is now ready to get an embryo. If the fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum will degenerate. It will lower levels of sex hormone, leading to menstruation. And this is a diagram of the uterine cycle. These lines represent the hormones, and this is like this is the period like when the so as you can see, these are the days. So this is the period, and then it comes the proliferative phase, and then comes ovulation and secretory phase. So the ovarian and uterus cycle, are they related? Well, obviously, the ovarian cycle includes a series of events that occur during and after the includes a series of events that occur during and after the maturation of an oocyte. The hormone secreted from the ovaries during the ovarian cycle controls the event of the uterine cycle. The uterine cycle involves a series of changes in the endometrium of the uterus to prepare it for arrival of fertilized egg and will develop there until birth. And now we're gonna talk about some prevention methods about STDs. It means sexual transmitted diseases. So as it's in the name says, well, they are diseases that are transmitted by sexual ways. We have for instance abstinence that is effective against STD and is 100% effective against pregnancy too. It prevents pregnancy by keeping semen away from the vagina. We have the male condom that is possible to be protected from STDs if the condom is properly covered only the affected areas. If it's used properly, it's 98% complete, effective. If the condom works by the condoms work by keeping semen away from the vagina. The condom is placed of the penis when it comes erect, and it has a very rare that it stops semen getting to the vagina. The diaphragm, it does not protect from STD, but is between 92% and 96% effective against pregnancy. It keeps the sperm from entering the user with it covered in the cervix. Um, and then we have the female condom. It's possible to be protected from STD if the condom is properly used by covering all the possible infected areas. It's 81% effective against pregnancy, and it's a device that acts as a barrier to keep sperm away from entering the uterus. It has the kind of not the purpose. It has the kind of same function as the male condom. We have oral contraception. The pill does not prevent a woman from getting STD. It only works to prevent pregnancy. It is 99% effective, but people tend to forget it, so it decreases to 91%. A doctor inserts the implant on the skin of the upper arm and releases the hormone to stop getting pregnant. The hormone thickness the cervix, which stores the sperm from the area. Then we have tubal ligation. It does not protect women from STDs. It is 99% effective against pregnancy, and it's a surgical procedure that permanently closes the fallopian tubes. For last, we have the natural family planning. It does not protect from STDs either. It is, if it is followed correctly, it can be 9% and 90% effective. It's only it works by determining your fertile days, abstaining from sex on those days. We have IUD. It does not protect from STDs either. It's more than 99% effective, and it uses a copper to prevent sperm from surviving and alters your cervical mucus used to prevent sperm reaching the egg. Then we have the morning after pill, and it does not protect from STDs either. If the pill is taken after 72 hours from the sexual activity, the risk is 89%. It delays this pill delays the release of the ovulation, but if the woman is already pregnant, these pills will not have effect. I want to thank you very much for your attention. These are my bibliographic reference in which my presentation is based on. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much for attention again.